Hey you guys, happy Monday. Today is November 20th, 2017, and we are continuing on learning about fractions. So we have a short week this week. We can all make it. I know that we're all antsy to have that long weekend, but we got to get through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday first. So we have a new person with us today. We're super lucky. She'll be here with us for about 4 weeks. And before I start on the actual lesson, I'm going to have you do some work for me that I think will be helpful for Miss Rybow. So on the first, oopsies, oh, there's a little sneak peek into your brain break that's coming up at the end of this lesson. When you came in the classroom today, you got a note card, and I want you to do some writing on that note card that you're going to turn into me when you are finished. Will you please use your very best handwriting? And this is going to be for Miss Rybow to get to know you a little bit more. So on the front of your note card, write the following information. Number 1, your name. First and last, use the name that you like to be called. If you have a tricky name to pronounce, you should write like a little key for her for how to pronounce your name. That would be super helpful. Number 2, 2 interesting facts about yourself that you think might be interesting for Miss Rybow to know. Here are some examples. If you can't think of anything, use one of my ideas. Number 3, what is one thing that you would like her to know or think she should know about Woodbury Middle School or Team Tsunami? Like, hey, Woodbury Middle School has really good Italian dunkers. You should try them out sometime. It can really be anything that you think might be interesting for her to know. Number 4, what is one piece of advice you have for Miss Rybow for becoming a middle school math teacher? So something like, if you could tell all of your teachers, here's what you think is really important for teachers to know, or how to make a good teacher, what would you tell them? What advice do you have? What makes a great teacher? And when you're finished writing those 4 pieces of information, will you flip your note card over, and will you write down 1 or 2 questions that you have for her? It could be anything from, why did you choose to go to Winona State, to what kind of music do you like, to what made you decide to become a teacher. Really, it could be anything. We're not going to have the time to answer all these questions today on our first day with her, but throughout the next week and a half or so, we will draw these questions periodically, and she can answer them for us so that we get to know a little bit more about her while she is here. Pause the video if you need to, and then come back when you're ready to start learning about fractions. Okay, today, Unit 3, Fraction Operations. The lesson is add and subtract positive and negative unlike fractions. So what makes this different today is that we have unlike fractions. Last week we worked on like fractions. Today we're going to talk about unlike fractions. Go ahead and open up your packet to this page. You're going to need a pencil. These are the guided notes for 3-3. Write the date in the upper right hand corner. Like I said, today's November 20th, 2017. And in the toolbox, I would like you to write down your favorite song or type of music to listen to. I'm having you answer this just to make sure that you are intently listening to every word that I say, because that's my expectation, that you do that you do listen. And I know sometimes we zone out and we start thinking about other things, but the only way that these video lessons are going to be helpful to you is if you really try your best to focus and listen carefully throughout the entire video. So what is your favorite song or type of music to listen to? Write your answer in the toolbox. The vocabulary for today. Unlike fractions are fractions that have different denominators. Go ahead and write that definition down, and then we'll move on. The essential question, how do I add and subtract, how do I add positive and negative unlike fractions? The first step when you want to add or subtract fractions with unlike denominators is to create equivalent fractions that have common denominators. Equivalent fractions can be created by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number, or by dividing the numerator and denominator by the same number. In the following example, both the numerator and denominator have been multiplied by 2. So this is the major difference, you guys. In order to add and subtract fractions, you have to have common denominators. Like, there isn't any way to get around it. You just have to have common denominators, unless you're using a calculator. In symbols, this example would look like 1/2 is equivalent or the same as 2/4. Using a picture to represent that, we started with 1/2. We essentially doubled it and made it 2/4. Multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by 2, and these fractions are the same value, but they have different denominators. So we can manipulate or change a fraction to get it into the denominator that we want it to get it, or that we want it to have. For example, create equivalent fractions with common denominators, then evaluate the expression. So first we got to get these into common denominators, and then we can go ahead and add. The first example, 1/2 plus -1/3. I'm going to bounce back here so you can see me doing this example on my handy dandy whiteboard. So 1/2, -1/3, not common denominators. The fastest way to find a common denominator is to multiply those two denominators together. So 2 times 3, that gives me a denominator of 6. Because what we're really looking for is what is a number that both 2 and 3 go into. That way we can change them to have common denominators. Multiplying them together isn't always the fastest way to find, or no, I'm sorry, it is usually the fastest way to find a common denominator, but it's not always the least common denominator. And then we end up having to simplify and simplify and simplify at the end. So if you can't think of what a common denominator or a common factor is for those two numbers, then go ahead and multiply them. But sometimes there's another way to do it. So we're going to start 2 and 3. They both do go into 6. So when I multiply those together, that actually is the lowest common denominator. So I'm going to change both of these fractions into sixths. I'm going to find a marker that works first. Okay. So the problem isn't changing except for the fact that I'm rewriting these fractions as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 6. So to get 6, multiply by 3. And because I changed the denominator, I got to change the numerator. So that fraction becomes 3/6. 3/6 is equivalent. It's the same as 1/2. We're just making it into 6 instead of out of halves. To change -1/3 to 6, we don't multiply this by 3 because that would give us ninths. So you have to just think carefully there. What makes this 6 is when we multiply it by 2. So we're going to multiply the top by 2 as well. The result of that is -2/6. Again, this fraction is identical to this one. Not identical, but they are the same value. All I've done is change the denominator and the numerator by the same quantity. Now that they have common denominators, now I can add. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the numerators. You should do this too. Circle the operation, which is to add. However, I'm checking here and I'm noticing that this is a positive and this is a negative. So I have to think about those rules for addition. If they're different signs, we subtract. So 3 minus 2 leaves me with 1/6. Check the sign at the end. There's more good guys than there are bad guys. So my final answer is 1/6. And then I just want to double check to make sure that I can't reduce or simplify at all. And in this case, I can't because there's no number that both 1 and 6 can be divided by. So I'm good to go on 1/6. Okay, sorry, I had a quick technical difficulty, but I think I'm back in business. So we're going to look at the second example. -4/5 plus -7/10. A couple things that I notice. Number one, they're the same signs, so I'm thinking in the back of my head, oh, same signs, add and keep. It's already an addition problem, so I'm going to go with that. The problem is that they don't have common denominators, so I need to make them common denominators. I could multiply them together and get 50. 5 times 10 is 50, but that's a really big denominator. I know that there's a smaller denominator that I could change that fraction to. So what I do know is that 5 is a factor of 10, and so I can actually change this fraction to tenths because I know that 5 goes into 10 exactly 2 times. So I'm going to do that by multiplying by 2. That makes me happy because I don't have to change the other one at all because it already is in tenths. So now I'm just going to rewrite the problem. -8/10 adding that to negative 7 over 10. Same signs add and keep. So I'm circling the numerator. You don't ever add the denominators when you add or subtract, because remember that number, that bottom number, just acts like a unit label. It represents how many whole parts there are, or whole pieces, and so I never change the denominator in addition or subtraction. Only thing that changes here is the numerator. So negative 8 and negative 7, I can add those together just like normal to make 15. It's all bad guys. So negative 15 over 10. If I were to leave my answer in this form, negative 15 tenths, it wouldn't be considered simplest form, because 15 and 10 is divisible. Both of those numbers are divisible by 5, so I can simplify that. I'm going to do that by dividing the top and the bottom by 5. And the result is negative 3 over 2. That as an answer, I would also accept it if you turned it back into a mixed number. A lot of you remember how to do that. 3 divided by 2. Well, 2 goes into 3 one time. It's negative. 2 times 1 is 2. There's 1 left over. And the denominator still stays as 2. So I would accept negative 1 1/2 as an answer as well. I want you to try that third example. So if you need to pause the video and do that now, you can, but you're looking at negative 2/5 plus negative 3/4. I want to see that you can show the work to change those fractions into common denominators and then add or subtract them together. Pause the video if you need to, come back and look for the answer, which I will have written up here in this little tiny space. So first you should be changing negative 2/5. If it were me, I would have been changing that into 20ths, because when I multiply 5 times 4, I get 20. So the top number, or 2, needs to be multiplied by 4 to make negative 8/20ths. The second fraction also can be changed into 20ths by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by 5. So the result of that is negative 15/20ths. And then when you add the numerators, negative 8 and negative 15, you get negative 23/20ths. That is an improper fraction that cannot be reduced or simplified top to bottom. So I would accept negative 23 over 20 as an answer, but I would also accept it if you converted it into a mixed number. 20 goes into 23 only one time. There's 3 left over out of 20, and it's negative. So I would accept negative 1 3/20ths as well. Okay. The last example that I'm going to talk about is negative 2 1/3 plus 4 1/2. So what makes this problem different is that there are mixed numbers that we're dealing with. And in my opinion, I think it's easiest to convert these to improper fractions first, and then find common denominators, and then go ahead and add them together. So using your calculator, I taught you the function for how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. If you would like to take your calculator out now to do that, I'm totally fine, because I want you guys to be really comfortable and really confident in using your calculator when it comes to fraction operations. So if your calculator is helping you, I'm okay with that, but I also want you to know how to do it if you don't have a calculator. So negative 2 1/3 can be converted into an improper fraction by taking 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 and putting it back over 3. Negative 7/3 is the same thing as negative 2 1/3. 4 1/2 can be converted to an improper fraction. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9, and then we put it back over 2. So 9 over 2. we're still adding those together. I'm checking the numerators, -7, +9. They're different signs, so we subtract. 9 minus 7 is 2. Oh, what did I do wrong? I went way too fast, which is a mistake that some of you might have done as well. I can't add those together because I don't have a common denominator yet. So I did the hard part of converting to improper, but now I need to focus on finding a common denominator. So 3 and 2 both go into 6. I'm going to change those to sixths. Times 2 gives me -14 sixths. Times 3 gives me 27 sixths. Now I can add the numerators, -14 and +27. They're still different signs, so I need to subtract. And I get 13 sixths. I would accept 13 sixths as an answer, or you could convert that to a mixed number. 6 goes into 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. There's 1 left over out of 6. More good guys than there are bad guys, so my answer is +2 and 1/6. All right, you're going to take a look at the second set of examples right after we do this brain break. So put your pencil down. I love Ellen, and she always has the best videos. So every once in a while, I'm going to show you videos that I think you'll like. This is a video of an adorable little guy dancing. You can put your pencil down and just watch and enjoy. Maybe. Wait for it. Come on, technology, don't fail me now. Ah!
Our next guest is small but mighty when it comes to dancing. From Detroit, Michigan, please welcome 5-year-old Tavares Jones. Oh boy, it's just hard for you to stop dancing when you hear music, right? You just can't stop. Hi.
Good.
Good to see you. You have a new baby cousin?
Yes.
Yeah, cousin baby?
Yes.
That is a large baby. That baby's as big as you. So you're a dancer, obviously, and I heard you caught your mom dancing around the house.
Yes.
Yep. What was she doing?
She was working in the house, and I didn't want her to do it.
You don't want her twerking?
No.
How come you don't want your mama? Why don't you want your mama twerking?
Cause she don't supposed to do that in front of me.
But she can do it, just not in front of you. All right. So, how's school doing? How you doing in school?
Good.
Yeah, good grades? You get rewarded if you get good grades?
Yeah.
What do you get?
I got 25 cents for being good on my good grades, and I got all A's.
Oh, good for you. That's great. That's good. Look at that. And what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a father.
A father. Why do you want to be a father?
Because I'm so sweet.
Yeah, why waste it? If you're sweet, you might as well be a father. That's great. So Christmas is coming up. What are you wanting for Christmas?
A Hummin car.
A what car?
A human car.
A human car. As opposed to an animal car, I suppose. A human car. What do you want the car for?
Cause I want to be a father. That's why I want a car.
Now I'm figuring this out. You really mainly just want a car, and you are using the father as an excuse. So, but you want to be a father with a car.
Yes.
Got it. All right. So you've been working really hard on this dance you're going to do for us today, right?
Yes.
Like really hard. You've been working so hard. Okay, well, let's see the dance.
Where you from? Where you from? Going down, going nuts, going down. Sauce it down, sauce it up. Ain't enough, ain't enough. Where you from? Where you from? Going down, going nuts, going down. Every day I'm ballin', so you know it's scoring. Moving so apart, my back is enormous. See that? This is the last warning. Man, I got that night. Ooh, go do the morning. No, girl, sorry. Ain't no girl call me. No, you will not. We call up all of them Mari. Cash out, make it rain, no game with Tommy. Run me like a Harry. Only boy in the party. I was on the phone. Yeah, I don't play with God. Come on, this is song. Tell me my cards. I was in the line, God. You don't know why. I'ma keep on flexing. You don't like me, then I'm sorry. Oh, sauce it down.
That was good. That was really good. All right, so I got you I didn't get you a car, but I got you some Christmas.
Oh my gosh, isn't he just adorable? Yep, my battery's low. We better finish this up. Okay. These examples that I want you to try are all subtraction. And so there's a big difference with addition and subtraction, and there's something that I want to make sure that you're doing that we've been practicing forever, but I want you to not skip this step of changing these subtraction problems into adding the opposite. So there's some space here on the left-hand side. Before you get going on these examples, I want you to write down the following steps. So in this space right here, on the left-hand side, when it comes to subtraction and addition, I want you to write down these steps just in that space. Pause the video if you need to. There's 6 total steps. Starting with step number 1, convert to improper if necessary. Step 2, make sure you get common denominators. Step 3, subtract. If it is a subtraction problem, you got to change it to adding the opposite. Step 4, circle the numerators. Add if the signs are the same, subtract if the signs are different. Check the sign at the end, make sure that it's precise, and then if you need to, simplify. I am okay with you guys using a calculator. However, I want to make sure that you can show me at least a few problems that you know how to do this by hand, for in case you don't have a calculator someday. So for your homework, go ahead and pause the video if you need to and then come back so I can explain your homework. You are writing this on the left-hand side of your notes. Shoop. We're going to come back to this summary, but by tomorrow, you need to be able to answer this question. We're going to start here. In order to add or subtract unlike fractions, what are the steps? What do you got to know? What do you got to do? So hopefully after you get some practice today, you'll feel comfortable and confident going back and writing that summary. For now, leave it blank. Before I let you do this brain break, I want to show you what I expect for your homework. Your homework is 03-03 assignment number 1. However, I want you to only do the even numbers. Even numbers means starting with 2 and then we're skipping every other. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And then there's a backside. 16, super challenging question. Try your best. You may use a calculator. 18 and 20. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is 10 questions that you need to do for homework tonight. Now here's the catch. I want you to do the first 3, so this first section, I want you to try to do by hand. I'm okay with you checking it with a calculator, but I would like you to show me the steps that you know how to convert and rewrite those fractions into common denominators and then add that way. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. How about that? 2, 4, 6, and 8. Number 10, I'll let you use a calculator on. But I want you to change those problems into common denominators and then add the numerators on your own, reduce if you need to. So you can use a calculator to help you with your multiplication facts and to figure out what to convert to, but I want to see your thinking on those 4 problems, numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8. The rest, I'm okay with you using your calculator on as long as you are getting the practice that you need to with your calculator. Okay, so I would like you to get started on your homework. Music is fine, but I'm also going to go back and show you this little brain break. So you can decide when you want to watch it. If you want to watch it now, that's fine, and then get started, get super busy on your homework afterwards. If you want to do a little bit of your homework first and then come back to it, you can do that too. I just love dog videos. This is one of my all-time favorite dog videos. I know some of you are cat people, some of you are dog people, some of you are neither, but there are so many funny videos out there about dogs doing something that they shouldn't have been doing and then acting super guilty. And if you have a dog, you maybe have a similar experience. You know what I'm talking about, but this is Denver the dog. He's so sweet. So I'm going to show you this video, and then you are working super hard on your homework. If you have questions, come up and ask for help. If you need to borrow a calculator, they're behind my desk. I'll move them to the front table, but then you are working really hard on getting this done. Okay, so here is Denver.
All right, well, apparently while I was out, somebody got into the kitty cat treats.
Uh-oh. Sorry, you guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to plug in my computer because I feel like it might be about to die, and maybe that's why it's freaking out. Oof. Let's try again. Come on, Denver. I'm going to not go to full screen because that might have been part of the problem.
All right, well, apparently while I was out, somebody got into the kitty cat treats. Now, I'm going to go look at the suspects. Suspect number 1. Is it you, Macy? See your face. Did you do this? Did you? I don't think you did. Number 2. What? Did you do this? Denver, did you do this? Denver, was this you? Denver, you won't look at me. Did you? What? Denver, did you do this? Look at me. Come here. Let me see. Let me see your face. Oh my goodness, Denver, you didn't. You did this? What? You got into Kitty Cat's treats while I was gone? I can't believe it. Are you sorry about it? Okay. You know the routine. In the kennel. Go on. Very disappointed. You're in the penalty box. You let it happen. I hope you're happy too.
All right, I'm going to ask for your help. I have created a, what's this called? A document that I would love for you to post ideas of brain break videos that you have, because I know you spend a lot of time on YouTube. And so if you find a video that is school appropriate, 5 minutes or less, doesn't have any violence, and is overall uplifting or positive, I'm going to share this document on my website. There's going to be a link for you to add anything that you want to, and all you need to do is write your name next to the link and then copy and paste the link into this document. I will preview these videos to make sure that they're good to go, but then I will use them throughout some of these video lessons. So thanks in advance for your help with this. You can go ahead and get to work. If you finish early, your job is to come check in with one of the adults in the room, and then we're going to lead you to a quizzes that will be available for you to practice and earn some credit on, and maybe even some candy. Get to work. Thanks so much. Peace out.